Welcome to Dreamlit Tales, where every story is a quiet place to rest your mind and wander through imagination. If you enjoy peaceful stories and calm narration, please like this video and subscribe to join our cozy corner of dreamers. Now get comfortable, close your eyes, and let's begin tonight's story. Rapunzel. There once lived a man and a woman who had long wished for a child, though their prayers had gone unanswered. One day, at last, the woman began to hope that her wish would soon come true. Behind their house was a splendid garden filled with the most beautiful flowers and herbs, but it was surrounded by a high wall and belonged to a powerful enchantress feared by all. No one dared to enter. From a small window overlooking the garden, the woman often gazed down at the lush plants. One afternoon she noticed a bed of rampion, also called Rapunzel, so green and fresh that she longed for it more than anything. Her desire grew stronger each day until she became pale and weak. Alarmed, her husband asked, "What's wrong, my love?" She replied, "If I can't taste that rampion growing in the garden behind our house, I fear I will die." The husband, who loved her deeply, thought, better to risk the garden than lose her. So at twilight he climbed over the wall, quickly gathered a handful of rampion and brought it home. His wife made a salad and ate it eagerly. It tasted so good that the next day she craved it 3 times as much. Once again her husband climbed the wall to fetch more, but this time he came face to face with the enchantress. "How dare you," she cried, "sneak into my garden and steal like a thief? You shall pay for this." Terrified, he stammered, "Please have mercy." "I did it out of love. My wife saw your rampion and longed for it so much she would have died without it." The enchantress's anger softened. "If that's true," she said, "you may take as much as you wish, but on one condition. When your wife bears her child, you must give it to me. I will care for it as my own." In his fear, the man agreed, and when the baby was born, the enchantress appeared, named the child Rapunzel, and took her away. Rapunzel grew into a girl of stunning beauty, her hair long and golden as spun sunlight. When she was 12, the enchantress locked her in a tower deep in the forest. There were no stairs, no door, only a single window high at the top. Whenever the enchantress wanted to visit, she would stand below and call, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." At her voice, Rapunzel would unwind her shining braids, loop them around a hook, and let them fall. The enchantress would climb up the long golden rope of hair to reach her. One day, a prince was riding through the forest when he heard a song drifting from the tower. It was so beautiful that he stopped to listen, his heart moved by the sweetness of the voice. He searched for an entrance but found none. Still, the song stayed with him, and every day he returned just to hear it again. Then, one evening, hidden among the trees, he saw the enchantress approach and heard her call out, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." The prince watched as the golden hair fell and the enchantress climbed up. "So that's how it's done," he thought. The next night, as dusk fell, he stepped to the foot of the tower and called out in the same way, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." The braids fell and the prince climbed up. When Rapunzel saw a man instead of her mistress, she was terrified. But the prince spoke kindly, explaining how her song had touched his heart and left him restless until he met her. Hearing his sincerity, Rapunzel lost her fear. When he asked her to be his wife, she thought, "He will love me more than old Dame Gothel ever could." She agreed and said, "I will gladly go with you, but I don't know how to get down. Bring a skein of silk each time you come. I'll weave a ladder, and when it's finished, I'll climb down, and you can take me away on your horse." They planned that he would visit each evening, since the enchantress only came by day. For a long time, they kept their secret. But one day, Rapunzel said innocently, "Tell me, Dame Gothel, why are you so much heavier to pull up than the young prince?" He climbs in an instant. "Ah, you wicked child," cried the enchantress. "So you've betrayed me!" In a fury, she seized Rapunzel's shining hair, wrapped it around her hand, snipped it off with a pair of shears, and cast poor Rapunzel into a desolate wilderness where she lived in sorrow and want. That same day, the enchantress tied the cut braids to the hook of the window. When the prince arrived and called as usual, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair to me," she let them fall. The prince climbed eagerly, expecting to see his beloved, but instead found the enchantress, her eyes full of malice. "So you seek your darling?" she sneered. "The pretty bird no longer sings in her nest. The cat has caught her and will scratch out your eyes as well. Rapunzel is lost to you. You'll never see her again." The prince, overcome with despair, leapt from the tower. Though he survived the fall, the thorns below pierced his eyes, leaving him blind. For years he wandered through the forest, eating roots and berries, weeping for the loss of Rapunzel. At last he came upon the wilderness where she lived with the twins she had borne, a boy and a girl. When he heard her singing, the voice was so familiar that he followed it. When Rapunzel saw him, she ran to his arms, crying. 2 of her tears fell upon his eyes, and miraculously his sight was restored. Joyfully, he led her and the children back to his kingdom, where they were received with great celebration. And from that day forward, Rapunzel and the prince lived together in happiness and peace. Thank you for listening to tonight's story here on Dreamlit Tales. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, subscribe for more bedtime tales, and share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what kind of stories help you relax most. Until next time, rest easy, dream deeply, and let your imagination carry you somewhere beautiful.